We are now talking to wide receiver Mark Simmons. What's going on, Mark?
What's up, man? How y'all going?
We are good, my friend. How are you and your family doing with this pandemic?
Oh, we're doing good, man. Just staying safe, trying to wear masks, social distance.
Masked and social distancing. You
That's
know,
all we can do.
it's funny. Every time I go to a Stop and Shop or a food store, you see everybody. You have security guards standing at the door, waiting and seeing if anybody has a mask on or if they're wearing a mask. If you don't wear a mask, it's like you robbed the store. You cannot come in here. You cannot come in here. They're yelling at you, telling you cannot come in here. It is
Yeah.
it is absolutely hilarious. I walk in there and am I allowed to touch the eggplant? Am I allowed to touch the
Yeah.
eggplant? I mean, seriously, I'm not wearing any gloves. Could I touch the eggplant? I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. So,
Craziest thing.
so, Mark, what's great about what the NFL is doing right now, and I like the growth of some of these young players. Let's go into the NFL draft. And I know you watched the NFL draft, and this was the first virtual draft we have ever seen. You were drafted years and years ago. What were your thoughts to the virtual draft and how Roger Goodell and the NFL really drew this up? Was it drawn up the way you expected it to be, or do you think it was a little outlandish?
No, man, I loved it, man. It was, it's first of all, I love the original draft, but this was just like a little break from that, and they did it great because we actually got to see inside the coaches' homes and how they choose players, and that's what as fans of the game, that's what we want to see. You want to see what really happens behind the scenes, what goes into making these picks, and how they make these crazy trades when you're like, well, where did that come from? And so that gave us a great insight into what goes on behind the scenes.
Do you think the NFL, as a result of the success of this virtual draft, will do more, not only NFL drafts like that in the future, but maybe even more events?
I think they don't want to take away from what they do, and that's making money. And the live drafts is really how they make money. It was a hit on TV, but they lost a lot of money by not being in Vegas. I mean, just how many people were going to Vegas for the NFL draft? So I think they will try to include it here and there, but I think they still want to do live and events, get all the fans out there, and so they can make even more money.
Now, Mark, this draft, everybody said this was one of the greatest drafts when it came to wide receivers being drafted in the first and second round. There were over, I think, 16 first and second round draft picks of wide receivers drafted. And you're talking about Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, all of them that weren't even drafted in the top 10. What were your thoughts of some of the draft nominees, especially the draft picks, the wide receivers that were drafted in the first and second round?
Well, first of all, CeeDee Lamb was the best receiver to me coming out. And for him to fall to the Cowboys was just crazy. I get it. Ruggs made some big plays. And Jeudy is another Alabama receiver, but you just can't pass up on a DeAndre Hopkins lookalike because that's what he is. I mean, you can find a Ruggs, in the second round, I think, like they did with KJ Hamler, and even the Eagles got the receiver from TCU, which I've heard that some people say he's the best receiver in the draft. So, but I just don't see you pass it up on a number one receiver in CeeDee Lamb like that.
Is there any receivers that maybe went in the second round or was kind of under the radar that you think can be the best receivers in this draft?
The kid from USC,
Michael Pittman Jr.
Michael Pittman Jr. He went to the Colts, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. He has the tools. He's like a Juju, like where he's young and he hasn't even hit his full potential yet. And to be around a veteran like Phillip Rivers and their head coach Frank that is just really offensive minded. And he doesn't have to come in and be the guy because they still have Paris Campbell, T.Y. Hilton. He just fit in, and then when it's his time, he'll take off,
We are talking to former Chargers and Texans wide receiver Mark Simmons. Mark, let's go into the Chargers last year. And the Chargers were one of my favorites of going to the Super Bowl last year. Before the season started, I thought they had a great defense. They played very, very well the year before. They got knocked out of they got knocked out by the New England Patriots after they knocked out the Baltimore Ravens, where a lot of people thought could have went all the way the year before that. What were your thoughts with Anthony Lynn and the fact that they decided to part ways with Phillip Rivers?
I mean, I was there with Phillip Rivers, the whole time, and Phillip is like Mr. Charger. He's been there. He's never missed a game. And to part ways with a guy like that, it seemed like it was almost time. You know what I mean? Even though he's Mr. Charger, it's like you don't want him to keep getting beat up by that same offensive line. You wanted him to flourish in that same organization and finally get a ring. Because, I mean, he deserves to go to the Super Bowl, but sometimes it's just time, you just need a new challenge in life. Same thing with Tom Brady. You just want a new scenery, new challenge. And I think it was the right time, they needed to go young. They needed to save money in the cap. And because they got to sign Bosa coming up, then They got to sign Derwin James coming up. And, they had to let Melvin Gordon go because of that money situation. So it was just time.
Melvin Gordon ended up getting nothing from the Broncos either, so they probably could have signed him too.
Yeah, I mean, he turned down, $10 million?
Unbelievable.
$8 million? Yeah, So it's just the market. Like, the best contract you're going to get is generally from your team. So some people hold out and thinking they're going to get better in the market always isn't like that,
So in terms of the receiver position in today's league, we were talking about the rookies earlier, but just as a whole, what do you think has changed a lot from when you were playing in 2006 to 2009 when you were playing to today?
It's a big flourish of slot and small receivers. When I was coming out at 5'10", 5'11", they were saying, they wish I was 6 foot. Now you're seeing guys that are 5'8" getting drafted. Because they realize the game has turned into a space game. You just want to get guys in space, make the linebacker and slot corners miss, and pick up first downs. Because when you spread them out, you can really dictate what the defense is going to do as far as blitzes. You can see it. And if you get one-on-one mismatches like a Wes Welker versus a linebacker, they're going to kill him every time. And so they really got that with the Wes Welker, the Julian Edelmans, the Andre Hawkins,
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. They find Tyreek Hill's a running back. He was a running back in college.
Don't tell him that.
That's right.
Don't tell him that.
He was a running back in college. And so that's what happens. They figured out small, fast speed receivers can get it done too.
As you guys know, we are talking to former Chargers and Texans wide receiver Mark Simmons. Mark, you live in Houston, and the Houston Texans, I have no idea what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing. O'Brien now runs the team. He's the GM of the organization. He decided to part ways with arguably one of the best wide receivers in the league, traded him for practically nothing to the Arizona Cardinals. Here you go, guys. You're going to get the best player, the best wide receiver in the league for nothing. Here you go. Yeah. So, and what are your thoughts? And then they give a guy like Lermy Tunsil the money that he qualified for, and they traded a significant amount of first-round draft picks for him. What do you think this team moving forward is all about? And do you think Deshaun Watson wants to be here now that you see all these transactions moving back and forth?
Well, Deshaun Watson is a guy that, he wants to be here because he doesn't give up on the city and the team. Yes, he's not happy about the moves about trading D-Hop. I mean, everybody knows that, and it's not just that you traded D-Hop, it's what you got back for him, so, and now is really good. They really put the pressure on him to succeed even more by giving him less weapons, and because they still don't have the offensive line like they need to be. Yeah, they paid Tunsil, but Tunsil was there last year when they had all those sacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they just need to come together as a unit, and one player doesn't solve that. So maybe the running back David Johnson solves it, but
Oh God, give me a break! Come on, Mark.
but no, I'm not. I didn't say I would trade Hopkins for David Johnson. I'm saying maybe he
I
helps
know. I'm just
solve the
messing with
offensive
you.
line.
I'm just messing with you. I mean, everybody when they heard that trade, David Johnson for Hopkins and a couple other picks, I was like,
And
what?
not even a first-round pick.
What?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, David Johnson's going to make $13 million. You could have paid $8 million and got Melvin Gordon.
Yep.
So I just don't. You know, it's something you just don't get. You know, but I'm not. They need to hire a GM. I mean,
Do they ever?
I mean, wearing the double hats.
They should hire you.
Yeah. You should see how good I am in Madden as being a GM.
I'm sure if you tried that trade in Madden, it would reject you every time.
Every time. It's just it's one of those things where you just like as a fan and as a alumni of the team, like you're just like, man, what are they doing? But maybe they have a plan we don't know about.
Whatever it is, it might be a graveyard plan.
Yeah,
maybe the Texans will be the second most dysfunctional franchise at this rate. The rate they're going after the Browns.
I don't know about that. There's about 4 or 5 other teams that are right now in the lead for that.
I'm still going Browns, Lions, Jaguars.
Don't forget about the Jets, man.
Oh, come on, Mark. Come on, man. I'm a Jet fan. Damn it.
Hey.
Damn it.
I've seen it, man. My cousin used to play for the Jets, so
who's your cousin?
I know Antonio Cromartie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
Mr. Crow.
Crow, you tell him about their dysfunction. I mean, you don't have to. He doesn't have to tell me about their dysfunction. You just see it in the news. You know.
Well, Jamal Adams likes to spread his wings out loud. That's for sure.
Oh man, he said I want to be traded, and then he named 7 teams that don't have cap room to pay him. So. We'll see about that.
Oh, he is by far the epiphany of what the Jets really need for their organization. That's for sure.
Yeah, man.
In terms of when you played with the Texans, you played there when it was relatively new. It was 2008 at that time when you came to the Texans. They were a relatively new franchise. What was it like playing for that kind of franchise, kind of new fans? Not a new city because they had the Oilers before that, but kind of a new fan base, a new team. What was that experience like?
Well, you know, living in Texas, it's all about football. And so the fan base, the tailgating is like crazy. So they're die-hard Texans fans out here. Because it's either you hate the Cowboys or you're a Texans fan in Houston. You know what I mean? So the fan base, they really love the Texans, and they really support the team, and that's always great. I mean, I just wish they would have given Kubiak more time. I mean, when the funny part is, we had Gary Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, all on the same coaching staff when I was there. And so just think about how great the offense. I mean, Kyle Shanahan was our offensive coordinator when he was 27, 28, I think. I mean, and at that time I said, this guy is probably the best offensive coach I've ever been around. He might be the best coordinator in the league. And people were like, what? And now you see what he's doing. I mean, he had Matt Schaub in the Pro Bowl throwing 5,000 yards a year. So, I mean, Kyle Shanahan is great. I mean, we had a really good staff there. We were just a young team that wasn't ready at the time.